AD 79, Gnaeus Julius Agricola and his powerful Roman army rampaged through southern Scotland, building great marching camps as they moved. In AD 138, Emperor Hadrian's successor, Antoninus Pius, abandoned Hadrian's Wall and moved the Roman Empire's northern boundary north, further into Caledonia. The Antonine Wall stretched from Kilpatrick on the Clyde to Caradon on the Forth, a distance of 39 miles or so. Sites from the wall can still be visited today, and Roman remains can still be found, notably at places like Seabegs near Bonnybridge, where there's an impressive ditch wall fortification, and at Croy Hill, a fort built by the Romans using the natural terrain to their advantage. Here, Adrian Cox from Historic Environment Scotland visits Rough Castle on the Antonine Wall to explain more about life in Roman times.
We're on the outskirts of Bonnybridge here, and we're walking the line of the Antonine Wall, built by the Romans in the 140s AD. Many people will be familiar with Hadrian's Wall, which is a great stone wall across the landscape. Well, the Antonine Wall is a little bit different in terms of materials. The Antonine Wall was built out of turf, so the legionaries working here would have cut turf blocks to a standard size and laid them all in rows on top of a stone base. And the whole 37 miles of the Antonine Wall from one coast to the other was built in that way by hand. And now I'm stepping onto the Roman road, the line of the road that connected all of the forts along the Antonine Wall, of which there were 16 or 17 known examples. The fort here at Rough Castle is the best preserved of all the forts along the Antonine Wall. Now I'm just walking up to the entrance of Rough Castle Fort, and above my head would have been a great timber tower defending the west gate of the fort here, and to either side a double ditch defence for the western side of the fort. We're now in the interior of the fort, and where you stayed in the fort depended very much on the hierarchy of the Roman army. So for example, just over here would have stood the centurion's house, the commander's residence, and we even know his name. He was a man called Flavius Beto. This fort was one of the smaller forts along the Antonine Wall, but it was still home to around about 500 soldiers. And we know a little bit about them here. This was a cohort of Nervians who were conquered by Julius Caesar earlier in the history of the Roman Empire and recruited into the Roman army. Contrary to the popular perception, many of the population living around the wall were quite accepting of the Roman presence, and they would trade with the Roman soldiers, and civilian settlements even sprang up to the south of the wall where lots of peoples would mix together and trade. The Antonine Wall is one of the most important and distinctive monuments that the Romans left behind for us in Scotland.
It certainly is, and here at Glasgow's Hunterian Museum we can see remains of the Antonine Wall. Next time we'll find out more about the soldiers of the great Roman armies who came to conquer Scotland.